At low, one man dead in clashes how ruined out Monday overnight among many decades of protesters and safety forces in the city of Tibooba, closed the Equity Tunis, on to the country-run TAP news story agent. 5 safety strength staff were injured, the news story agent told. Tunisia's Interior Design Ministry on Tuesday rejected accountable how the corpse man was run above by a police force car and told it was studying the reason. A half a dozen human beings, consisting younger generation, were detained next renovated protests Tuesday overnight in Tibooba, TAP informed. Many decades more than were arrested in some towns consisting Nabayul, Yendaoba and Sidi Bouzid next clashes in police force, the news story agent told. More than protests include been named for Friday, as a new youthful motion and opposition lawmakers try to put blood pressure on by the government to coup the strictness measures. Which are the protests on? Tunisia's by the government has enlarged taxes by the 2018 financial instrument. The new budgeting grown importance added tax, tank, or turnover taxation, on cars, alcoholic, telephone call, the web, in lodging and some items, on to the Reuters news story agent. The World Cash Foundation coordinated in 2016 to a 4-persons year lending program cost on $2.8 trillion, but payments are connected to the Tunisia by the government transport out economical and public reforms. Protests are overall in Tunisia in January, while lot human beings mark the anniversary date of the toppling in 2011 of the nation's long imperious lead, CEO magazine El Abidine Ben Ali. The towns wherever strife has break out, consisting Tunis, Sidi Bouzid and Kasserine, include frequently been the position for protests in the history, Tempest told. Tempest considers the protests a wholesome mark how the nation's authoritative heritage has waned since they saw how human beings venture to say out on their frustrations, fair as they do in the Western, occasionally furiously. Before democratic state consolidates, I believe he's a nice item how human beings since they include the prospect to show, she told. Someone's over the protests? The protests seem to include breakout spontaneously at a regional standard amongst human beings who include really slight and are sense frantic, told Tempest. A brand new, unofficial youthful motion inviting himself Fek Nestanu, or which are we wait to? Sprang up at the begin of the year and is now with public print to gathering opposition to the cost hikes. The team, that uses an alarm signal watch as its logotype to symbolize the requirement for people to wake up an instrument, puts its own affiliation at on 6,000 through the nation, in hundreds of members in Tunis. Representatives say it is a freely organized local motion in no lead. Several of its members own to opposition parties, time other are freelance. Human beings sense intensive wrath in the direction by the government above the economical position, Chenawi told, and the financial act was the recent stubble. More than rather than 20 of the team's members were brief arrested following Saturday and Mons protests, she told, but no remnant in guardianship. The motion has named for more than protests on Friday. Which do the authorities tell? Financial Secretary Ridha Chowghum told the cost hikes were required to assist the nation's economics increase. Same taxes do not influence consumer trading cart concerning food and some things, since these are not by tank, he told. Amongst the artistic achievements of democratic state is the capacity to organize an outcry. But one must as well job to do the Tunisia economics wholesome. An economics in that the increase that has started in 2017 can be united. Ennahda, the Islamic side in Tunisia's steering coalition, convicted the forcible dimension of the protests and which it outlined as same operation of countrymen legal demands by specific anarchism groups in a declaration located on its Facebook web page Tuesday. Ennahda stresses the legality of demands for growth and occupation and countrymen complete law to peace outcry out of infringing the security of other or offensive individual and social characteristic, it told. Which does the opposition tell? The lead of Tunisia's major opposition famous frontline side, Hama Hamami, named for the extension of the protests at a click meeting Tuesday, onto a live video declaration located on his Facebook web page. Same frontline is inviting all Tunisia human beings go out to the gateway for a peace protests nation broad for one precise purpose, that is to give downward these actions how ruined the Tunisian nation and its human beings, Hamami told. Which is the policy background to the protests. Against government protests began in Tunisia in December 2010 among wrath above economical facility and rapidly distribution through the Medium East and Polar Africa. Next elections include taking into account force to the mild Islamic Ennahda side and the secularist Nida Tun side, led by CEO Beji Keita Sebsi and seen as presenting the old team. A episode of occasionally forcible demonstrations include breakout above the year, reasoned by policy, economical and public concerns. In spite the newest turmoil of protests, Tempest does not trust Tunisia's next is any more than vague now rather than it was 2 or 3 years back. Time Tunisia is politically volatile, it does not see love a back to authoritative guideline is on the cards, she told. Thou might see a office permutation or elections, but these are portion of the more democratic cloth. Tunisia is not yet a united democratic state, therefore, why it is volatile. The reality how Tunisians include protested by different regimes with the Arabic springtime consisting Ennahda and Nida Tunes, can be seen as else wholesome mark of a operating democratic state, Tempest added.